All right, so this evening's training element that I wanted to share with you guys is the new starter conversation. One of the biggest mistakes that I made when I first started in network marketing was unwillingness to talk to people that I recruit, especially when I started working on social media and realized how easy it was to find people on social media, message them, send them the business opportunity presentation, any other information, etc., and to recruit them. I sort of decided that the conversations are unnecessary. I can just recruit them very well without actually getting on conversation with them. And I started recruiting 5 people a day, 10 people a day, sometimes 15 people a day into my team. And very quickly, within a couple of months, I recruited a couple of hundred people into my team. Unfortunately, today, most of those people already been deleted from the system long time ago, right? They've never even started doing business. Why? Because this element was missing. The relationship building, the emotional connection. You cannot build business with strangers. It is very, very difficult, because if you don't build this relationship and don't make this emotional connection, the chances are people will remain strangers with you. If they remain strangers with you, they will be unlikely to give you questions when they get stuck, or to even to confess to you that they are stuck, that they don't understand something, because their ego will get in the way, and you're a total stranger. They don't really know you, and it's not very pleasant to go asking for help, to strangers, right? And that's how quite often we have people who quit the business without even starting, because they never got really in a relationship, in an emotional connection with you, in order to be secure enough to ask for help and to tell you if something goes wrong. So that is why now I don't even recruit people into my team unless they get on a video call with me, right? Because obviously it's not always easy to meet with somebody, because if you're building an international business, people can be from all over the world, but you can get on a video call with literally any person that you recruit. So that can be a Facebook Messenger call, it can be a Zoom, it can be a Skype, it can be Instagram video call, or whatever platform you're on. You can get on a video call with a person. Why video call? Because you can see each other. So you can see each other's faces, you can see emotions, you can see each other's eyes, you can hear each other's voices, emotions, and everything. So it's the most effective way to build a relationship with somebody and to get into this emotional connection. Now, when I get on this call, I like to have a little bit of a structure so that I don't forget to ask something important or to say something important. So I have a little list of things that I say on this new starter call that I just keep in my phone. So whenever I get on a call with somebody on my computer, I just have my phone handy and I just keep going by the list and having that conversation with the person, so that one, it doesn't take too long, and two, I don't miss any important bits. So the first thing I do when I get on a call with a person, I want to find out and get to know that person as much as possible. So I want to learn as much as about that person as possible. And if you ever read, How to Win Friends and Influence People, or any other books like that, you will know that the more the person tells you about themselves, the more they're going to start liking you. I know it sounds strange, because we usually think the more I tell them about myself, the more they're going to start liking me. But that's not how it works. If I asked you, who was your best friend when you were a kid? Most likely that was a girl or a boy who knew all your secrets, right? Because when somebody is your best friend, you tell them all your secrets. And that's why they become your best friend, right? Because you've opened up to them, right? So you want to get that person to open up at least a little bit. Yeah, we're not going to go here maybe into some sensitive information just yet, and their secrets, but we want to find out as much about them as possible. Like, for example, work. What do they do for a living? How long they have been doing it? Do they like doing it? Is it their dream job or not, etc. Second, family. What's the family situation? Do they have kids? What age are the kids? Is it a similar age to your kids, etc.? You know what I mean? Are there any similarities, which you can go, hey, me too, right? Because that builds relationship, right? Because when we're similar to other people, we like to be friends with people who are similar to us, not different to us most of the time anyway, right? Third one is free time. What do they like to do on their free time? And most importantly, do they feel that they get to do that enough? Most people don't. Most people, let's say they like fishing, but they feel they don't get to go fishing enough. They like golf, but they don't feel like they get to go golfing enough, right? Because the work and all the other things eats up their time, right? Well, you know where I'm going with this, right? Later on, we can use that as a motivation, right? What if this business helped you to spend more time fishing? What if this business helped you to spend more time with your kids, etc., right? And then final one is goals. What are their goals? What are their dreams? Where do they see themselves in a year, 5 years, 10 years? Like a question you might, if they're a little bit, like difficult to give you their goals. A question sometimes I like to ask, I say, well, if you won $1 million in the lottery tomorrow, what would you do? What would be the first thing you do if you win $1 million in the lottery? Cool. And what would be the next thing? And what about next thing, right? What are they telling you? They're telling you the deepest dreams and ambitions, things they don't really believe could ever become a reality, right? But they're just telling you their dreams. Yeah, I'd buy a house to my mom and dad, yeah, I'd travel to Maldives, yeah, I'd do this, etc., right? Well, that's their dreams, that's their goals, right? They don't know yet that they are goals, right? But basically that could become their goals, right? So the more you find out at this point, the easier it is going to be for you to build a relationship with that person. And if you just listen, if you just give time to person, some people will give you their life story at this point. They will tell you all the sensitive stuff and things like that, diseases that they have, and problems with health and other things, etc. So you can really build a good relationship. And of course, you can take notes at this point so you can remember next time. So next time when you get on a call with them and go, hey, how is your daughter Sally doing? They'll go, oh my gosh, she remembered, right? Or how is your, basketball team doing? Did they win any games? And they like, oh my gosh, she remembers that, I told them that I like basketball, etc. You know what I mean? So this is a really vital step. Second step is then your story, right? So this is where you're going to tell your story to try and relate to them and to get them to see themselves in your story. So your story consists of 4 parts, and most of you probably have heard this already, right? So the first part of your story is, what did you do before network marketing, or are still doing, right? Maybe you're still doing that job that you did before network marketing, right? Second part of your story, what did you not like about it, or what was missing in your life? Right? What's the pain, right? Maybe you were not earning enough. Maybe you couldn't spend enough time with your family. Maybe, your boss was, not very good. Maybe you had to commute long hours and sit in a, sweaty subway or whatever, right? What's the problem with that? What's the pain point, right? And by the way, this is the most important part of your story, because this is where they're going to say, me too. I don't make enough money in my job as well. I don't get to spend enough time with my family too. I have a boss that is really riding me too, right? So this is really, really important part. Then part 3 is, how did you find out about network marketing, right? Like, who invited you and how they invited you to this business, etc., right? So did somebody invited you, or you saw a post on social media, etc.? How did you join the business? And then the last part number 4, is your goals and your results. So if you're quite new and you still haven't got any results, then you'll be sharing your goals, and my goal with this company is to do this, to reach that, to earn this, to qualify for that, etc. If you've already had some success, maybe you already earned some money, maybe you already qualify for some trips or maybe something else, then you can also share your results. But this is not the most important part. Most people think that this is the most important part, where you have to tell them how much money you made and how many cars you got, etc. It isn't. The most important part of your story is the pain. The pain is the great connector. The pain is what's going to make that person relate to you. And basically, it's a bit of a psychology, right? Because if you had that problem in your life and you use this company to solve that problem in your life, so then if they have the same problem, they can use this company to solve that problem in their life too. So now they shared about themselves. Now you shared about yourself. You're making friends, right? You're becoming a little bit more familiar. Third is how they would like to work, right? So you ask them, how would you like to work? Like, would you like to work on the ground, like speaking to friends and family and work colleagues and things like that, face to face? Or would you like to work on social media, using Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, and, doing posts and stuff like that? Or you'd like to do both, right? Find out, right? What's the, like, eventually they're going to have to do everything anyway, right? But at the beginning, you want them to do what they want to do, right? Because it's going to be easier to get them going if they do what they want to do than if you tell them to do something they don't want to do, right? Then number 4 is how fast you want to reach 1,000 per month. Now, it doesn't have to be 1,000. I just like to use 1,000 because it's a good number to use, right? And it's, I relate it to 21% level. So sort of like, how quickly do you want to reach the 21% level, the 1,000 pounds per month, right? And again, it's going to show me how hungry that person is and how realistic they are, right? Because some people might tell you, well, I want to make it in my first month. I mean, possible, but then it's going to require some effort, right? Or somebody might say, in a year. Well, that tells me what? It's not very urgent for them, right? Like they would like to earn extra income, but they're not rushing there, right? So it gives me an idea when they tell me how fast they would like to do it. There's no right or wrong answer. I just want to find out. The number 5 is how much time can they give to the business? And I always like to emphasize realistically, right? Like after you, deduct your work hours, after you deduct your family time, your church, your everything, how much time realistically do you think you could give to this business per day, per week, etc.? Most people are over optimistic at this point because they're fresh, they're brand new, they're full of excitement, so they usually will give you a crazy amount. You're like, oh, I could do 3-4 hours a day, because that's how much time I've got left over. Let's face it, they're probably not going to give 3-4 hours a day, right? But if they could, amazing, right? But this is where you can say, well, amazing, if you can give 2 hours a day to this business, and we talk, not like watching cat videos, but actually doing income producing activity that we're going to teach you, then in 2 hours a day you can actually build a quite good business, because let's face it, if a person spent 2 hours a day sending messages and making posts and stuff like that, they could start making money fairly quickly in the business, couldn't they? And then number 6, who can you introduce me to? So this is the point where I explain to them that you can't be a prophet in your own town. Now, in some exceptions, some people are very influential in their friend circle, and they can go and recruit the heck out of the, hot market, and people will listen to them and join the team, etc. But more often than not, our friends and family and work colleagues, they understand that we started this business 5 minutes ago, and they're not going to look at us as a entrepreneur, or an influential business person, advisor type of thing, right? They're going to look at us as still our mate or our work colleague who started this thing, on the side. So instead, I encourage a person to introduce their people to me, right? And say, hey, look, I want to help you build your team. But instead of you trying to do presentations to your family and friends and work colleagues, why don't you bring them to me, right? Just say, hey, look, I'm just starting this thing, but I'm brand new, but there's a guy that I'm working with who has more experience and knowledge. I'd love to introduce you to that person. I think this introduction might be beneficial to both of you, right? So pique their curiosity, make sure that they want to meet me, right? And then if they introduce those people to me, I can show the presentation, I can explain, and because I've been in the business for a longer period of time, they'll be a little bit more open-minded to hear about it, and then I can also edify their friend who invited them, so I can say, hey, and by the way, you're so lucky to be in Genevieve's team, because she's incredible, she's, passionate, she's got huge goals, etc. So now that person is like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy I'm in her team, because she's invited me, right? Or I can go, hey, and you're so lucky to be in Coral's team, because she's such a strong leader, she looks after her people really, really well, and she has big goals. So if you just listen to what she says, you're going to go far too. Now, they're going to listen to that leader more because I've edified them. They can't say those things about themselves. It's difficult to brag about yourself, but somebody else can totally say those things about you. So again, you can have a little bit of training between you and your team member so they know what to expect. They can edify you before the call, and then you edify them during the call. And then explain about the tools, right? What tools, what resources do you have available in this business as a new person? Because we know what we have. We have the groups and we have this and that and the other, etc. And for us, it's all common sense. But for that brand new person, it's not so common and it doesn't make so much sense, right? Like they don't know what's going on, right? So you need to point out, these are the tools that you will be working with, right? So you don't need to do presentation because we have a video for that. You don't need to do training for your team members because we have a group where we have all the trainings. You don't need to create your own website because we have the company website, we have the back office, you have the replica website you can create, etc. You have the online shop where you can shop, but you also have an online shop for the customers, right? We have a catalog online which you can copy the link and send to people, right? You can have a referral link that you can create and send people to register, and so on and so on and so on. So what resources are available for your team member? Sometimes you might just need to sit down and think, okay, what are all the resources that we have that I can point my team member to? And again, you don't need to give them everything, right? Because again, that's a mistake I used to make at the very beginning. I'd recruit somebody and go, hey, here's 56 videos you need to watch. And that person just like gets burnt out before they even got started because they see so much information, they get confused and they just go, I don't even know where to start. This sounds all too complicated. So start them so slowly. I usually give them access to one group where they can find, a couple of most important trainings, and I start them with that. Only once they've gone through some information, then I can give them extra. If they ask a question, then I can send more, but I don't give everything in one go, right? Because it's just too much at the beginning for that person. And number 8 is, do you need help placing your first order? So this is, the Achilles knee, Achilles whatever called of our business, which is a good thing and a bad thing, right? It's great that in our company, it's free to join. But it's not so great because some people never actually get to place their first order because it's not compulsory, right? And we know what? You can't recommend a restaurant that you've never eaten in, right? If a person is not going to use the products, there's no chance in hell they're going to get any results in business. Trust me, in 12 years, I've seen it all, I've tried it all, and it doesn't work. Any person who joins my team and doesn't buy products and try to build a team, even nowadays on social media, etc., they eventually struggle. They eventually drop the ball. And even over the last couple of months, I had few people who joined the team who super smart people, they think they're more clever than everybody else, and they think, I'll just join this company and I'll just keep referring people and posting pictures of products and I'll just send them to my online shop and I'm going to make a lot of money. All of them fail. And I tell them, look, I always say, by the way, I always say to a new person, look, you can go by my system, or you can do your own thing as long as you're happy not making money. If you're happy not making money, then you can do your own thing, etc. If you want to make money, then you need to do what I'm telling you. But not everybody will. It's totally fine. They can do their own thing, but it's just, that's what I'm saying, it doesn't work. So with the brand new person, straight away, I want to encourage them to use products. So I tell them, look, you can't recommend a restaurant you've never eaten in. You will feel totally differently when you're using the products and you're recommending them on social media and you're making posts, etc. Your friends, family, work colleagues, your friends on Facebook will be more likely to buy the products if they see that product in your hand, if they see you using that product. I share with them what products I use. I share, what I would recommend to get started with, like from perfumes to Inner Balance to anything else, I might recommend them to get started with. Again, depending on our conversation, maybe I'll see already what I could recommend to them, etc. Right? And I will there and then encourage them to place the first order, and will offer to help them to place their first order. Because again, for us, it's all so simple, isn't it? You just go into the online shop, you drop the products in your basket, you click checkout, order now, bam, 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 Bob's your uncle, the parcel is on its way. But it's not so straightforward to other people, especially people in the older generation, it's not so straightforward to them. So sometimes you might need to get on a Zoom call and show them step by step, click here, click here, click here, do that, because sometimes you have team members who never places an order because they didn't know how and they were too embarrassed to tell you, right? So always offer, say, hey, by the way, if you need help, placing order, I'm more than happy to help you with that. And then finally, number 9 is accountability. Again, this is something that comes from experience. And I always say to a new person, look, I've been in this business for 12 years and I've seen people succeed and I've seen people fail. And most of the time, people who fail are people who do not keep in touch with me. Right? Like I'm not your boss. This is, your own business, etc. But if you keep in touch with me on a daily basis, if you tell me your ideas, what you want to try, if you ask for advice, if you ask questions, etc., and if you contact me every single day, I will be in a much better position to help you and support you than if you disappear for the next 3 months. Because then I don't know what's happening. I don't know that you're struggling. I don't know that you have questions. And to be honest with you, I've got a few thousand team members in my team, and physically it's impossible for me to contact every single person, right? So really, 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 I encourage you to keep in touch with me on a daily basis, etc. Now, will all of them keep in touch on a daily basis and send you their accountability? This is what I've done today, etc. Of course not. However, because I spend so much and I labor the point at this point, they will not be surprised when I start messaging them on a daily basis, because I just told them that it's so important to keep in touch and to keep that conversation. Because if you don't talk about this, then it can become a little bit weird, where you send one message, no reply, and you send a second message, no reply, a third message, no reply, and it's like, do I communicate with them? Do I not, etc. So they will be more likely to respond and communicate with you if you prepare them to the fact that the people who get the best results are the people who stay in touch, on a regular basis, every single day, etc. And within the first at least 2 weeks, when the new person joined, I would recommend you to get in touch with them, minimum every 3 days, but ideally every day. Right? Find an excuse to get in touch with them. Hey, by the way, have you seen this training? I just wanted to send it to you. Oh, and by the way, have you seen these pictures in this group where you can use them for your social media? Oh, and by the way, did you see the special offer today? And just find an excuse to reach out to them every day. Like one of the 5 leadership skills, create an action where action wouldn't have happened, right? So with enthusiasm, share with them a new product, a special offer, an incentive program, a strategy, an idea, a training, an event, anything, right? Oh, Zoom coming up. Great. Here's an excuse for you to contact your newbies, right? Hey, by the way, did you see that there's a Zoom coming up today, this evening, and invite them on, right? So you want to keep creating that action that wouldn't have happened. Right? That person might have been just stationary, didn't do anything, but because you contact them, they decided to take an action. They decided to do something, right? So do that on a regular basis, and you will keep more people in a business. Now, there is no magic formula, and obviously you cannot retain 100% of your team members. Well, at least I've never seen anybody do that successfully in network marketing, right? Some people get close to that, but nobody can retain 100% of people, right? The more you do these things and the more relationship and this emotional connection you build with the person, the more people you will keep and the less people will go into witness protection program. But there's always going to be some, right? It's impossible to keep all of them, right? But the goal is to keep as many as possible, because if you're losing people faster than you're recruiting, then the what's the score. That the business will struggle, right? And you will be struggling to create a great result if you're not bringing enough people into the business. So that's the training for today, guys. I hope you got value from this, and if you have any questions, I will be more than happy to answer them right now. Cool. So I'll just make